Hi, this is Krista at the Secret Yarnery. Today we are making this awesome coronation scarf. You will love this stitch as much as I do. It looks really complicated, but it's really easy to do. Just using basic stitches, just double crochets, single crochets, and chain stitches. It's an easy 2-row repeat. And I'll show you at the end of the video a quick way of how I remember what I'm doing for my stitches. It has nice straight edges. So this beige one is with a 7mm crochet hook. But if you do have a 7mm, I do recommend using it. It is so squishy. If you would like a written pattern to go along with this tutorial, it's available over on my website, secretyarnery.com, and it also has all the measurements and yarn requirements for either of these scarves that you wanted to make. For this tutorial, I'll be using Savor from Ice Yarns in this denim jeans color and a 6mm crochet hook. Of course, a 7mm crochet hook is perfect for scarves. If you don't have one, I'll link it in the description box down below, or you can just go ahead and use your 6mm. You will also need a darning needle for sewing in your ends and a pair of scissors. So let's get started. Go ahead and get your yarn, make a slip knot any which way you normally do. Shrink that down and put it onto your hook. Now we're going to start by making a chain. You could make your scarf any width you want it to be just by doing any multiple of 3. To do that, we can just start by going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, all the way until your chain is the width you want your scarf to be. Or to make it the same as mine, chain 21. So there is my chain 21. I like to work into my back loops just so the bottom of my scarf looks nice and tidy. So to work into your back loops, take your pretty little V's and just kind of roll them over with your thumb. We want to be looking right on the side of our chain. So here's our working yarn. The first bump, or the first back loop, is right there, right underneath our working yarn. So that's 1. We want to work into the second stitch, right there. If it's hard to work into your back loops, you are welcome to work into the front of your chain. It doesn't matter completely. So into the second chain, or the second back loop, just poke it onto your hook and make 1 single crochet. Chain 1. Now we're going to skip 1. So still working into our back loops. There is our first back loop, and here is our second. So we want to skip 1 and work into the second, right there, and make 1 single crochet. Chain 2, and 1 single crochet into that same chain, the same spot. 1 more single crochet. Chain 2, 1, 2. Now roll that chain onto its side again. We want to skip 2 chains. So 1 and 2. We want to work into the third right there. So push your hook in. You want to get that back loop on your hook and make a bump. So we're going to do 1 single crochet, chain 2, and 1 single crochet into that same chain. Just like that. Chain 2, skip 2. So we're going to skip 1 and 2. We're going to work into the third right here. Make 1 single crochet, chain 2, and 1 single crochet. All into the same chain. So again, rolling your chain onto its side, skipping 2, 1, 2, working into the third, right there. We're going to do the same thing. So chain 2, skip 2, into the third, make 1 more bump. So single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, all into the same stitch, the same chain. Chain 2, skip 2, into the third, 1 single crochet, chain 2, and 1 single crochet. Looks like that. Chain 2, skip 2 into the third, our last bump. So single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. Now we have 2 chains left. So we're going to chain 1, skip 1, and into the very last chain right by our knot right here, we're going to do our last single crochet. So this finishes the first row. So 1 single crochet into our last chain. 1 single crochet. To start row 2, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Reach underneath your working yarn, grab your work, and turn it. That'll help our chain be facing the right direction when we're working into it. Wrap your yarn, and now we're going to be working into these chain 2 spaces, these little bumps that we made. We're going to be working right into the middle of them. So into the center of the first bump, 3 double crochets. 1, there's 2, and 3. So finding the center of that next bump right here, 3 double crochets. So wrap your yarn and 3 double crochets into the space of the next bump. Wrap your yarn, find the center of the next bump, and make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Center of the next bump, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Center of the next bump, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And into the last bump, right there, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. So that is what row 2 looks like, and this is our head row. So all of these sets of 3 double crochets, they will be our heads for the next round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for the width of scarf that I'm making. And at the end of our row, we have this little blip hanging down. We want to find the top of that single crochet. So it's right here at the bottom. So we just want to poke our hook in and make sure we have 2 strands of that stitch onto our hook for our last double crochet. So 1 double crochet into that last stitch. Just like that. That gives us a nice straight edge. So that finishes the head row. Now next is crowns. Each of these heads is going to get a sweet little crown. So to start the crown row, chain 1 and turn your work. We're going to make 1 single crochet into this very first stitch right here. So pop your hook in, 1 single crochet, and chain 1. Now we're going to skip a stitch. So we're skipping the next stitch. We're going to work into the second right here, and that's where we're going to be putting our crowns. So the center stitch of all of our heads, so the first crown is going to go here, then here, 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 and so on all the way along. The center stitch of our heads gets a crown. So skip 1 and into the center of your head, or the center stitch, make 1 single crochet, chain 2, and 1 single crochet. Chain 2, jump over to your next head. So we're going to jump over 2 stitches and into the third, or the center stitch of the next head, and make your crown. So crowns are single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet all into the same stitch, just like that. Chain 2, jump over to the center of the next head, make your crown, single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. So we're just making these cute little crowns on top of our heads. Chain 2, jump over to the center of your next head and make a crown of single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. Chain 2, jump over to the center of your next head, that center stitch, and make your crown, single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. Chain 2, jump over to the center stitch of your next head, single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. Now we're at the end of our row. To finish off the crown row, we chain 1 and we single crochet into the top of our chain 3. So that is this little stitch right here. We want to go in, we want to make sure we have 2 strands of that chain on the top of our hook. So put your hook in to the top of the chain 3 and make 1 single crochet. So that finishes the crown row. So next is heads, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Turn your work. Now into the center of each of our crowns. Same as we did before, we're going to put 3 double crochets into each. So this row goes really quick. 1, 2, and 3. Wrap your yarn, jump over straight into the next space, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Jump over to the center of the next crown, just into the center space, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Into the center of the next crown, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And we're just going to keep doing this all the way along our row. So wrap your yarn into the center of the next crown, 3 double crochets, and that's all we're doing. Every crown gets 3 double crochets just into that chain 2 space of the crown. So here's our last one, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Now wrap your yarn. We're going to go into this last stitch with our last double crochet. Make sure you get 2 strands on the top of your hook. 1 double crochet to finish the row. Just like that. So you're just going to keep alternating, making crowns and heads all the way along until the scarf is the height you want it to be. So for me, doing the heads is super easy, 3 double crochets into each space. I got it, but I can make a mistake doing my crowns. So I'm going to show you a tip on how to remember how to do your crown row. So now this is how I remember my crown row. So we start the way we normally do. Chain 1 and turn your work, single crochet into the first stitch, chain 1, skip 1, and your first crown starts in the first head. So that I can remember, right? We get this far, we haven't made any mistakes. So now chain 2, and what I can forget to do is to go back into that crown. I just kind of jump over and I don't make a crown on top of that head. So how I do it, I don't tell myself about the single crochet. I tell myself where to go. So I say chain 2, crown, and I'll go back into that same stitch and make a crown. Then I'll say chain 2 and jump. And then I do my single crochet. Chain 2 and crown. That means I'm going back into the same stitch. Chain 2 and jump. That means I'm going to the next head to start the next crown. So chain 2, crown, chain 2, jump, chain 2, crown, chain 2, jump, chain 2, crown, chain 2, jump, chain 2, crown, and now we just finish our row normally, so chain 1 and single crochet into the top of the chain 3. So that's how I remember to make all of my crowns, but I'll show you what to do if you have forgotten a crown. So now I'll show you what to do if you have forgotten a crown. See here, there's no crown. So I'll show you how to fix that. So in case you have forgotten a crown, here there's no crown, you can just frog it back, which means rip it, or rip out your stitches and go and put that crown in. If that is really discouraging to you, or you're just starting out anew, I'll show you a little cheat on how to just kind of keep going. So instead of working into your crown, we're just going to work straight into this stitch. Just kind of push your hook in between these legs of that stitch, and you'll get 2 strands on the top of your hook. And that's where we're going to do our head. So we're just going to put our hook straight in. Make sure you get 2 strands on the top of your hook, and just put your 3 double crochets there. 1, 2, and 3. And I'll just keep working ahead a little bit so you can kind of see if you notice the difference. So that is the row with the cheat. And the cheat is right here. This is where we cheated. So you can decide if you're going to just keep going or you're going to frog it back, or remove your stitches and redo it. But I just want to show you what it looks like if you keep going. So now pause the video and keep going, making heads and crowns all the way along until your scarf is the height you want it to be. When your scarf is the length you want it to be, just finish up on a head round with those double crochets, and at the end of your row, chain 1 and turn your work. Make 1 single crochet into that very first stitch, chain 1, and jump over into the center stitch of our head, just where we normally put our crown, and we're just going to put 1 single crochet. Chain 2, jump over, and 1 single crochet. Chain 2, jump over, and 1 single crochet. So we're doing the same as we did for our crown row, except no crowns. We're just doing 1 single crochet and jumping straight to the next head. So chain 2, jump over, 1 single crochet, chain 2, jump over, 1 single crochet, chain 2, jump over, 1 single crochet, and at the end of your row, chain 1, and make 1 single crochet into the top of the chain 3. Just like that, chain 1, cut your yarn, leaving a long enough tail to sew in with a needle later. Pull your hook up and your yarn through and snug that down to secure. Sew in your tails and you're finished. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'd love to see yours. You can find me over on Instagram at Secret Yarnery or Facebook, The Secret Yarnery. You could also join our Facebook group, The Secret Yarnery Crochet Community, and upload your photos there. I'd love to see the yarn you chose for yours and how it turned out. And thanks so much for hooking along. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and the notification bell beside that so you don't miss out on any more quick and easy tutorials just like this. Have a super great day. We'll see you in the next video and stay hooked.